Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Director's Garage Live Hump Day Happy Hour Hangout here from coming on rainy Los Angeles soon. I'm hearing that there's rain coming. Sorry about the last minute shuffle getting on the air. Turns out that I didn't change my slate from the last week. So it was still saying tungsten teardown, which is clearly not going to happen today. Oh, it looks a little washed out. Which clearly isn't going to happen today, folks, because we did it last week. So why would we do it twice? Let's try something like this. All right. That's better. Okay. Oh my God, I'm missing all sorts of lights. Sorry. Hang on. Oh my God. Atrium. Hang on. I gotta give you guys the full experience. We need lights and cameras and stuff. Goodness me, I've been asleep at the wheel. Just changing a slate, all my lights were off. Jeez, you guys gotta tell me these things. Oh my Lord. So what are we gonna do today? Well, we've got some things planned. I thought this was gonna be a really quiet Director's Garage hangout, and then suddenly like some stuff appeared. The most notable thing I'm going to talk about, let some people filter in. I'm going to talk about a few things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Roger Waters was dropped by BMG. That is his label over some comments that he made. So he is no longer going to have a record deal to put out new material, which could become a challenge down the road for him if he wants to continue to put out music. But he said some things that apparently upset some folks, and yeah, he lost his record deal. I don't know if I've heard. I mean, I guess he's not considered a major star anymore, so there's that. But I was like, whoa, that was a kind of a shocker to me. So I don't know if we got this Dark Side of the Moon, which really wasn't very good. So there you go. I guess no more Roger Waters for a while. Number 2 topic. Oh, we've got something to unbox today too. I'm going to unbox something in a few minutes. And I got to write down something here because Ken from Ken's Workshop sent us updated photos of, remember the amp that he was showing off that was in construction? It's looking a lot more finished. We're going to show you some gorgeous photos of that. I'm going to write that down to remind myself to do that. So we'll see that. I was stuck in LA traffic for 4 hours yesterday. I had this shoot in Newport Beach, which is only 60 miles from where I'm at in Los Angeles. So it's only 60 miles, and so you would think, well, it'll take you, maybe an hour and at most to get there. No, 2 hours each way, folks. 2 hours to drive 60 miles each way. That's LA traffic for you. That's how messed up this is. And so along the way, so I was jumping around XM Sirius, which sounds god-awful. I mean, compared to Tidal but people complain about MQA. I'm like, they ought to listen to XM, Sirius XM for a while and tell me how that sounds. That is some bad material there, man. There is some bad stuff. But I flipped around and I got on the Billy Joel channel, and they started playing. They played one cut off of Streetlight Serenade, which actually had a really good story behind it. This is the one thing that Sirius XM does right. Hang on, Mrs. Director typing. I have to be off the air at 4:45 today. Just a reminder, folks. Okay, because my brother-in-law's in town. He's going to be coming over for dinner, so I got a break. Anyway, so I was on and I was listening to Billy Joel, and there was this great story that came up about how he was playing with Don Henley once, and he says he doesn't understand a drummer who can sing. He goes, this just doesn't compete with him. Just compute with him. It just doesn't make sense to him. But he said he was playing I think it was Desperado. Is it Desperado? Anyway, he was playing a song, and he said he went into a kind of a gospel tone on the piano, and Henley looked at him and gave him the stink eye, like, don't do that to my song. But Henley said that he appreciated a song on Streetlight Serenade that was about the music business. He's called the Entertainer. And on that album, in that song, he talks about, it's kind of an acerbic song about the music industry. And this was the album that Joel put out just before he moved back to New York. He was in LA for Piano Man and Streetlight Serenade, and then he got tired of the LA scene and went back to New York, which was a smart move because he hooked up with Phil Ramone, who then became his producer through that string of fantastic albums in the late 70s, early 80s. But Streetlight Serenade had this Entertainer song on it, and apparently there's a song in there there's a lyric in there that goes, they cut my my song had to hit time. I got to look up the lyric. Boy, that's going to drive me nuts if I don't get this lyric right. And I should have just printed it out in advance. This could screw everything up, but let's see. Billy Joel, here we go. Discography. Find this. I got to get the lyric right. If I don't get this lyric right, I'm going to just hate myself, and it's probably going to start playing over my thing. So I better stop it. Okay, stop. Can't do that. There's a rights issue. Hey, dummy. I'm gonna get sued by 20 people. Okay, so I want to see lyrics. I want to get this lyric right because it's so clever. And this describes radio in the 70s. So it was a beautiful song, but it ran too long. If you're going to have a hit, you got to make it fit. So they cut it down to 3:05. And what he's talking about is the song Piano Man, which was this beautiful song that he'd written. Everybody knows Piano Man. And the label needed a single, or wanted to make a single out of it. And the singles needed to be 3 minutes, like 3 minutes at the most. They wanted a 2-minute, 50-second single. And so what they wound up doing was cutting the song without his knowledge. And they used to do this all the time in the 70s. They'd take a long song. Listen to the butchering job they did on like Sweet Emotion and The Who, Won't Get Fooled Again. All these songs, they just beat the crap out of them doing these horrible pull-ups to make them hit a single time. And so they cut his song down to 3:05, and he was livid about it. So he wrote this song, The Entertainer, about all his foibles in the music industry. And it made him, he was so bitter that he moved back to New York. And as I said, he hooked up with Phil Ramone and went on to that string of albums, The Stranger and 52nd Street, Glass Houses, Nylon Curtain, Innocent Man, and then he fired. I think he may have done the bridge with Ramone, and it was so poorly received that he fired him and he started over. Anyway, that's my story from riding around in the car. And then the other thing I did that was a big mistake was I read my YouTube comments after being in the car for 4 hours. So I was a little bit ornery by the time I got home, as you might imagine, after 4 hours of LA traffic and people cutting you off and people giving you the finger and you're giving everybody else the finger and you're just, there's fingers flying everywhere. And I sat down and somebody was like, your headphones are on backwards. I'm like, I know. I actually knew that. I knew that. I saw it the night before. I was doing my final screening and I went, oh crap, my headphones are on backwards. And I go, well, I'm imagining somebody's going to notice. It was in the episode, I'm talking about in the episode yesterday. There's a section, I was doing 2.5 hours of listening. And every time I changed headphones, I would swap the pads out, swap the cables, and go back in for another session. And there was like 1 or 2 times for like a brief listening section that I had the headphones on backwards. Just cables were in front instead of in the back. So the right and left channels were swapped. It's like, wasn't the end of the world, and it was only for, you know, a couple of things. But anyway, I got lit up over that yesterday in the comments section, so I wrote something back. And I'm sorry if I wrote something back that was a little defensive. Just understand, it was 4 hours in LA traffic, which is enough to make you kill someone. So good. So the moral of this whole story is, don't write answers to people after spending time in the car. It's going to be a bad scene. Cheers, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another Hangout. So let's do a little unboxing. This came today. Huge box. Huge. We're going to unbox this right now. It's just something fun. It's nothing serious, guys. Where'd my switcher go? I can't cut to the overhead. If I can't see this, you can't have your meat if you don't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't have any eat your meat? Here we go. Sony. Oh, there it is. A dissolve, no less. Okay, so this is just a package. We're just going to have some fun with this because this came today, and why not? Show it off. It's fun. All right. 2 of these. It's not even audio. Well, it's kind of... No, it's not audio related at all. We'll do one more. Gosh, you can't see that edge. It's much easier when I have the time. I can pull out time and stuff. This blade is losing its sharpness. Okay, so let's see. We got enough? Yeah, we do. Ow, I just stuck myself. Did you see that? Run that back in slow motion, please. And oh my gosh. Woo. I know what's in this. So it's a big box, everybody. It's a big box. Big box. Oh my God. It's not coming out. There we go. Hope it's not important. It's not really. Okay. So it's got a sleevey case. There we go. And then you get a really cool latch. Look at this latch. This is kind of elaborate little setup here for a latch. All right. Get that out of there. We're going to need a little more light, I think. Can I get a more light for you guys? Sorry, camera's dancing. Don't get seasick. This will help. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh my God, congratulations. There it is. It's this way. Congratulations on your Emmy. This is my, believe it or not, 9th Emmy Award. My 9th Emmy Award win. They come in the mail, and this is how they ship them. They ship them in that fancy box. And comes with a polishing cloth, and there you go. That's how you get an Emmy, boys. That's how you get an Emmy. It's got my name on it and everything. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So there you go. That's my unboxing for today. We got ourselves Emmy number 9. That just means I'm really old, guys. That just means I'm really old. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to win something. I don't win a lot, so... So there we go. That's my unboxing. Now I'm going to show off Ken's photos in just a few minutes, but I'm going to first look at Slack because it's been going off, clicking off here while I've been doing this unboxing quite a bit, and that could be work. That could be work. Let's see. 11:50 around 11:30. 12 p.m. wrap. Right. You gave a 15-minute window to shoot. Okay. That's that. That's something that's coming up. Okay. Well, okay. So, and the rest is some stuff I can deal with later. No problem. There's that. So we're going to go to the chat now. Sorry, I'm a little... Got 3 people pulling me 1,000 different ways right now. Let's go to the chat, and then we'll take a look at Ken's amazing, cool creation. I want to show these photos because this thing's looking righteous. This thing is... He's done some major improvements on this amp since the last time we all saw it. Oh, good. The reboot helped. My computer's not acting funny anymore. Okay, so good afternoon. IMJ says, "Hey, man, cheers. You got and you've got your tungsten on the way, right?" It's a little wait, but you're in there. Ripa C says, "Greetings from the Isle of Skye." Well, cheers, Ripa. Welcome to the madness that is the Happy Hour Hump Day Hangout. Also rolling the atrium today is Gene Fruit. Cheers, Gene. Nice to hear. What else we got? Hey, director, do you know if a Mimic Audio is a legitimate dealer for Ryan's tungstens? I believe he only does those through his... Oh, Ryan says yes, they are. There you go. Answered. You know, it's always nice when the manufacturer is like right there to answer the question. You don't have to. That's awesome. Well, that's good news, though. Hey, Marco B says, "Hey, director, do you know if..." Oh, we did that one. IMJ says he's having a hard time trying to figure out if you should go for the Atrium or the Caldera. Well, the Caldera is just that much harder to drive than the Atrium. They're pretty much negligible. The Caldera is sort of ZMF's take on the Sesfara. And IMJ, if you're interested in the Modhouse Tungsten, I would say that the Caldera is going to be similar sounding. It's in the same lane. The Atrium is in a different lane altogether. It's a darker headphone. But I love the headphone. And in particular, I love the design of this headphone, and I'll have some news to report on this at some point this year. I've been talking with Zach over at ZMF, and we're planning some stuff coming up, so that's kind of cool. That's going to be fun. But this is, to me, this is the ultimate expression of what a headphone should look like. I don't. He broke the mold when he did this. Everything for. I'll show it on the overhead. Hang on. Let's move that aside. I don't know how well this comes off on camera, but this is satin but smooth. It's polished to an absolute to perfection. It's absolutely gorgeously sculpted. I love the wood grain in this. It's one of the best wood grains I've ever seen from Zach. On top of that, you have this aged copper effect and aged copper effect on the posts. It's got a redesigned band from the previous headphone he had released, which is much cushier, much more comfortable, with bumps built in, so you don't need something like a Dakoni Nugget. The Nuggets are in the headband. How brilliant is that? The only knock I would give these at all, and this is such a small niggle, I actually feel bad about even bringing this up, but I will mention it for the sake of argument, is this right here. I wish that this wasn't a flap that was just hanging open on the band. I wish this was tucked in and, like battened down or sealed down or stitched down or something, because that's the only thing I can say about this headphone as a flaw. And it happens to also sound great, be easy to drive, good bass, great bass, beautifully dark headphone. It's lush. There's everything about this headphone is just amazing. That said, the Caldera probably is like more on the hi-fi edge of hi-fi greatness, you know what I mean? Because it is pushing that kind of Susvara sound, tons of detail, exceptional transients, great sound stage, you know, like all those things. This is kind of a darker experience. But God, they're so great. They're just it's a lush headphone to listen to. It's not going to shove a ton of detail at you. You know, it's not like a Detail King, but it's not about that. It's more like, it's kind of in the, you know, how the single-sided mount house I was talking about, how it's a smoother experience than the double-sided. The double-sided is more like about giving you that transients and details and stuff, and the single-sided is a smoothed over approach with stronger bass presence, and you know, like that's what I was getting out of it when I had the headphones on the right way. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to that a few times. That doesn't end easily, but this is even smoother than that, because it's a more lush experience. It is one of my favorite headphones, period. And I think in the rankings, I didn't even rank them like crazy high when I did the overall rankings. But just because I don't rank something high doesn't mean I don't enjoy them. You know, like I put these technically superior headphones up against it, but I still wind up listening to these more than a lot of the other headphones I have, you know, because I like the experience of them. They fit my music and my moods a lot. So there you go. So Atrium or Caldera, I think it just comes down to, do you want that technical edge, or do you want a smooth, lush experience in what happens to be the best package I've ever seen in any headphone of any color, any shape, any size from any manufacturer? It's the best design in the world, I think. And I would say it because you put the Caldera next to it, and it's kind of like there's something far less special about the Caldera. It doesn't feel as good as in your hands. The wood isn't as smooth. It's, you know, like it just lost something in the looks department. It gained something in the technical department, though. So there you go. Okay, so here we go. Gene Fruit says, memory serves correct. You have the Susvara already. What dynamic driver headphone do you have? Neil says he has $10,000 in his pocket for a new headphone. What do you suggest? Oh, wow. For 10 grand. Well, it depends. You know, what do you want to? What are you going to listen to, Neil? Are you going to listen to? Do you like EDM? Do you like metal? Do you like acoustic music? Are you into classical? I think my answer would be predicated on what you want to listen to and what type. You know, what do you like in sound? I mean, do you not care so much about bass, but you're all about like hyper detail and hyper everything? You want every ounce of detail you can get. I'm going to tell you to maybe look at an electrostatic. But if you want a more full shaped sound, but still like that electrostatic edge, I would say, well, then look to the Susvara, the Caldera, or the Tungsten. Because with 10 grand, you can buy one of those and have a lot of money over to buy a nice amp rig to drive them. You know, I think it just comes down to what type of music you like, and don't take my word for it alone. Go audition stuff. Take the time. If you got that much money and you're going to put it into a headphone, go listen to it yourself first. Make sure you're doing that, or make sure you're with a company like Audio 46 who has a good return policy. Like if you buy something and put that kind of money out there, you can send it back and say, this wasn't for me, can I get something else? And Audio 46 has an outstanding return policy regarding that. Just use the Director's Garage. If you're spending 10 grand, good God, use the Director's Garage coupon code. Get 5% off most of the items they carry, I swear. Oh, man. Okay, moving on. Ken Workshop says, Garth Brooks, great artist and just a good, legit guy. Absolutely. I tell the story. I think I've told the story on the show before. When my mom got cancer for the second or third time, I can't remember which, she was despondent. She was like, I don't want to fight this. I just want to go. I'm done. I don't want to go through this chemo thing again. I don't want to. My mom's a superwoman. She's literally superwoman. She's fought cancer 4 times and is still like spirited and goes out drinking with the girls and she's amazing. I mean, like the most amazing woman I know. She and Mrs. Director make quite a 1-2 punch in my life, literally. Bam. But anyway, when my mom went out to the car, she went out to the car and she just sat there and cried. And she turned on the radio and the river came on. And she sat there listening to Garth's song about sailing your vessel and, how it's all going to be okay in the end. And you just got to go with it. And she picked herself up, went back in and said, when do we start treatment? So when I met Garth, when I've met him, I've worked with him on a number of things. There was a period of time I was seeing him a lot. And we were at his concert at Notre Dame, and we had flown in, and we were in the locker room at Notre Dame doing this tour, and we were all sitting around waiting for something, for a camera or sound or something. And I said, I'm going to take the time to tell you a story. And I told him the story of my mom and her cancer experience and listening to the river in the car. And he looked at me and he goes, Michael. And I go, what? He goes, go get your damn phone. And he recorded a personal message to my mom about how much that, I get a little teared up on that, about how much that story meant to him, to hear how his music gave her the strength to fight something that nobody wants to fight. Amazing story, amazing guy. You never hear me say anything bad about Garth Brooks. He's 1 in a million. IMJ says, Gene, none yet, aside from this Focal Bathies. Boy, jump back in after that little emotional moment. If you're looking to augment the collection, then Atrium. That's his recommendation. IMJ says, that's my thinking too. The biggest worry is that the sub bass won't be to his liking. Yeah, they don't go as deep, to my ears anyway. They don't seem to go as deep into the sub as some of the planers, but they have great bass presence. Like the before the sub bass, you get some sub bass there, but it's not as prominent. The bass on that is really good though. Planers have them spoiled in that regard. Sure. JTB says, Don Henley doesn't want anyone doing Desperado, including Joe Walsh, who does a great version of it. Yeah, maybe it must have been Desperado, but I want to give myself a little leeway in case I'm misremembering wrong through my red haze anger of yesterday. On that road. God, it's got to tell you, Los Angeles is not the place to drive. Thanks, Ryan. What's the difference if he already ordered the Mod House or Mimic? I'm gonna let Ryan take that one. Atrium takes a shelf quite nice, if that's your concern. Oh, you can, yeah, EQ it. All right, boys, I got an empty soldier here. Fortunately, I got a backup. Reinforcements have arrived. Oh, and that one's cold. How nice. JTB, what's the best amp for the double-sided tungsten? Oh boy, that's well, I didn't have it here. I can't tell you that because I haven't listened to every amp. I mean, the best amp, probably the Mass Kobo, but who the hell's going to spend that kind of money? The best amp would be the Mass Kobo. Go buy it. 18 grand. And tell them the Director's Garage sent you and see if they'll give me a little referral money. JTV. The best I've heard, I really like the WA5LE on it. I think it does really well with tubes. I think this amp does really well with tubes. The tungsten, the headphone does really well with tubes. I also would think that the Enlium 23R is probably a good pairing. I don't have it here anymore. I only have the 13R, but I do like the solid state 13R pairing. And I'm thinking with the power needs of that headphone, the 23R is going to light it up really nice. I would also say if you're looking for a more budget idea, look to the Ferrum stack. And now the Ferrum ore itself probably isn't powerful enough, but if you buy it with the Wandla, you can push up to 9 volts into the Ferrum ore, and then the ore will comfortably drive the tungsten. Having problems remembering things today, apparently. Okay, so that's what I would say, JTB. I can't speak to Burson. I can't speak to the other, like big dog manufacturers of amps. I can only tell you what I've used. I do know that like the $8,000 sitting back here, the Zale HM1, that amp, it isn't as impressive to me. It does drive them. It makes them sound, they sound good, but I also think that I think I enjoyed the experience better through the 13R. So there you go. That's the best I can do. Maybe Ryan's got a better answer than I do. Johan K. Cheers, Johan. Welcome to the show. Susvara can only sound its best when paired with the Dana Cables Nirvana headphone cables. Okay, I'm not a cable guy. I don't think cables make that big a difference. I say if you want to spend $3,500 on a cable, cheers. If you think it sounds better, great. I don't think I can tell the difference. I think you can put that. I personally, in my experience, I could put that up against this thin little ZMF thing right here, and I probably wouldn't be able to hear the difference. The amp will make a much bigger difference in that equation. The source chain will make a bit bigger. In my opinion, the source chain is a much bigger deal than the cable. The cable is going to, if it's going to improve it, it's going to be like a hair, and certainly not worth $3,500 worth for that. In my opinion, it may be worth it to you, and that's good. Cheers if you can afford it. Michael, my backwards wearing headphone guru, you happy Wednesday. I win. I won the backward headphone war. I know. I went off on that at the beginning of the show. Ryan, Marco V is like drilling. He's grilling Ryan. Last question. Will a Vioelectric V820? Yeah, you asked me this the other day, and I said I don't know. That's a good question for Ryan. Marco Mimic, you're stuck with their color scheme and wait longer, but I don't know. I'm going to let you guys have that little thing. There are things to do when stuck in LA traffic. Read scripts, check your emails, and enjoy the theater of road rage. Oh man, it's real, man. It was real yesterday. That was brutal. That was abnormal. I'll be honest, that was an abnormal day. I mean, but it was painful. I was like, my ass is sore. I gotta pee. Like this is not a good experience. And the guy next to me keeps, and the guy in front of you is driving too slow. So every car in the world is like zipping ahead of him and cutting in. And I can't get over because there's too many cars. Oh, it's a whole thing. It's a good pairing. Okay, good to know. Good to know, Ryan says. The Vioelectric. Well, I'm glad you answered that because I didn't have a quality answer. I'm like, I really need to see the numbers on it. And the best I can say is like, you need about 5 watts out of your amp, or out of a 2-watt amp, you got to be able to push about 6 volts into it. 5 or 6 volts. Listening to headphones on backwards is called giving it a full review. Absolutely. I left no stone unturned on that headphone. I don't, mistakes happen. I'm doing 2.5 hours listening. Things are going to go wrong. I'm like, let it ride. I was like, and I was so tired because and the last thing I did was I almost ripped apart that cinematic open and changed out all of the shots where I was in silhouette. I almost put in a reel-to-reel footage there. Like it was a reel-to-reel thing. And then I started down that path and I looked at it and I went, this isn't improving anything. It just looks... It just wasn't, it didn't have the energy. I'm like, it was just like a thing moving. I'm like, I would have to do something else to enhance that and make it work. And I'm like, I'm out of time and out of ideas. And I wanted to post Tuesday morning to keep the train rolling. Very important that I upload the same time every time I upload. I don't know why it's a YouTube-y thing, but that's the thing. Many thanks going to Mimic after the video to order. Yeah, you go, Marco. You go with our blessing. All of our blessings. Yeah, the Riviera, that's another one of the amps that they say is really good with it. Yeah, but it's, $18,000. I don't know. Like I'm going to be selling a lot of gear to afford that thing, and I don't know if it's worth it. Yeah, and you know, I've already got an $8,000 amp here. God. Oh my God. You don't EQ, IMJ. Yeah, I don't do that much EQ either. I will tell you the one thing that I have been doing regularly is, and I'll do this when I do the Zale review. I'll talk more about it, but the Zale review is still a couple of weeks off. I do almost permanently leave the bass switch on this up +1, and that's because the gain on the bottom end on the EQ section of the Zale, it's really more like a channel strip than an EQ, a proper EQ. The maximum you can boost is 3 dB, so you're just giving it a little pinch of taste, you know? So doing little fine adjustments. This is the first EQ that I've actually found usable, because it's so slight. It's very tasteful in the way it does stuff. So I find myself using it often. MJ, congrats, yay. I hope I get number 10 next year if I'm alive. I'm going to keep doing this show. Would love to hear about the Caldera and the Atrium, but he missed his opportunity. They were not on his radar last year when he went to Can Jam. MJ, is that here in LA did you go, or was that at, did you go elsewhere? I don't remember where you're from. I'm sorry. Where's the acceptance speech? Who are you going to thank? Thank you guys, man. You guys, you kept me going for the last year. I think I just broke it. Yeah, I won the foot and mouth award a few times. Yeah, step away for a bit. Oh, Ken, please, I hope you come back because I want to show your photos off. And maybe I'll do that right now. Let's do that because it's what? It's 4:07. Yeah, let's do Ken's. Is he back? I don't know if he's back. Shoot. All right, well, hopefully maybe I'll just read through a few more and wait for Ken to chime. Ken, if you're back in the crowd, go ahead and give us a little note. I want you to be here when I show off your photos. You took nice photos too, boys. Really nice photos. Accepting everything except country, hyper neutral, high resolution. He does have an M scaler HM1. Well, that's an interesting combo. That is super detailed. You can go either way because your source chain is so hyper detailed. These things are going to be very detailed on it just because your source chain is so detailed. And if you're really wanting to punch the detail, then you could go with, then I would say you could go with the Caldera, or if you can get your hands on the Mod House, that would be fine. The HM1 though is not the best for the Mod House, so I would say Caldera. I would say Caldera if you're leaning that way. If you're leaning that way with your gear, the Caldera will give you the most resolution. If you're looking for a smoother experience than the Atrium, the Caldera has a little better sub, but the Atrium has a little smoother bass. You know, like it's like the worn pair of slippers versus the pair of track shoes. There you go. Analogies you'll only hear from this idiot. Neil Snyder says he also has the Enlium 23R, Sospara 1266, Utopia, Caldera, Radon 6 Plus, Meze Elite. You sounded like the director's garage. You've got too many headphones. I got to sell some of this stuff, man. Only. IMJ says, Neil, you could get used to... Oh, he's back. Ken's back. All right, I'm going to pause right there with Gene's comment. We're going to go to the laptop, and I want to show these off because you know my appreciation for anybody who builds stuff on their own, who takes the time, whether it's a show, a YouTube channel, whether it's something creative like musical outlet, or if it's hardware, something physical. But these guys who build things themselves by hand and figure all the things out that there are to figure out, really, like, I tip my hat to them, and they just amaze me. And Ken is one of those guys, and he sent us, if you go back I don't know, a couple of months, I played a video of Ken showing off his own homebrew amp that I'm dying to hear. Dying to hear. And he's now taking it to the next level. And here it is. Here it is. This is Ken's gorgeous. I don't even know, like, Ken, you can drop the particulars. I don't even know how many watts per side you're talking, but he built this thing by hand. Selected the components, did all the soldering, did all the wiring, all the stuff he did himself. And here's the power supply, and here's my favorite part. Now, he said he got it laser etched. He sent it out to get laser etched, but they put an extra N in his name. But you know what? In the true spirit of the Director's Garage, I so appreciate this, because this is something I would actually enjoy. I like stuff that has that's not perfect. It's like reversing your headphone for a section of the show. You know, I don't want it to be perfect. You know, you don't want it to be. It's got to have a knock in it. You know, it's got to have something there. But look at this thing. Look at this. This is the power supply. He's got dual power supplies in this thing. You know, special. And there it is with the top assembled. Who wouldn't lust for an amp like this in their system? I mean, seriously. And he just built this himself. He just went, I want to go build the ultimate amp, my version of the ultimate amp, and this is it. And look at all the detail and all the stuff he had to figure out and all that. I mean, that's genius, man. That is genius at work. And it's so impressive, man. It's why I love having guys like Ken around, because he has forgotten more about electronics than I will ever know, and that is a gift to the world, to be able to talk about all of these things and what they mean, and correct me when I say something dumb that doesn't make sense and whatever. But hats off to Ken. Look at those photos, man. I mean, if you figured out a way to do that amp, you would have a line out the door waiting for people, you know, people knocking on your door going, I'd really like to buy one of those and experience it, you know. Neil says he has portable stuff he owns is the Diablo 2 and the Mojo 2 Poly. Diablo 2's taken some knocks in the press. I don't know how true it is. I haven't had one myself. But the Diablo 2's been taking some knocks because they're saying it doesn't have as much power as they claimed, and blah 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 blah. But you know what? The question is like, is it working for you? And I think it's a cool looking product. I think they really like next leveled the product up from the Diablo 1. That paint chipped easily, and I know because I knocked it and I got a little knock on it, and I had to confess. I told iFi when I sent it back to them, I said, you know, I did put a little nick on this thing, and they said that's okay, it's expected, you know, things like that will happen with a demo unit. I said okay. I said if you want me to buy it, I'll buy it, because I felt horrible, but they said no, just send it back to us, it's fine. I said okay, and I sent it back to them. Thank God. Basketball Never Stops says, hi director, do you still have the YH5000 SE? Do you prefer it to the tungsten? No, I don't, and no, I don't prefer it to the tungsten. It had great speed. There were issues with the YH5000 SE for me, for my taste. There was a quality to it that I didn't really enjoy. They were a marvel, though. They were like a marvel to listen to, but they weren't something that I wanted to own. And people who own that headphone rave about it. I can see what they get out of it. It is like so detailed. It really pushes the Susvara for detail, but it misses a lot of the other nuance that the Susvara brings to the table. No, I would take the tungsten over that, especially given that that's a $5,000 headphone, and I think that the tungsten sounds better at $2,000. I'll die on that hill. They are easier to drive than the tungsten. I'll give them that. That's for sure. But I don't even prefer I prefer the Caldera to the YH5000 SE. But I do think that it's a marvelous design. And I'm really impressed with the build on that. The magnesium chassis, all that stuff. Really, Yamaha put out a quality product. There's nothing, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying I don't think it's for me. By the way, whoever recommended, because I was talking about my arthritis like 2 weeks ago, somebody recommended Hemp Cream. It works. It actually, it doesn't cure it. Nothing, it can't, nothing short of like a shot or, cutting my arm off is going to cure the arthritis in my shoulder. However, it takes the pain from a 7 down to a 3, and I can actually move my arm in ways that I really couldn't a couple of weeks ago. So there you go. Neil's not a tube fan at all. Totally understandable. I like both. But I really think that the tungsten sounds really good on the WA5LE, but that's a 300B tube amp, which is a more powerful amp than like your average ordinary tube amp, like the WA22 or something like that. So, different flavors. You've got to be down for the tube experience, to get there. Why is this thing error not extend? I'm not getting, YouTube's not getting enough stream power. What do you mean? Am I breaking up, boys? Am I in low res suddenly? Damn. Let me go back, find where we're at. Odyssey OG says he has an order for a tungsten on the recent drop. I wonder if it started raining here. My speed dropped down. That happens sometimes. Hang on, boys. Director needs some nectar. We're going to go for another half an hour or so, and then I'm going to get off because I got to go pick up dinner for my brother-in-law who's coming. I got an order for a tungsten on a recent drop. Oh, that's good. Grab the double-sided. Which version is the most versatile for all-around genre listening? Should I have gone to single-sided? Well, Odyssey, I said this in the video, and I'll say it here. I think that there's... Oh, my connection's back to excellent, by the way. YouTube doesn't know everything. I think the double-sided is probably better cross-genre. However, if you like more music with more drive in it, or you're not like somebody who's seeking out a lot of detail, if you want stuff to be more smoother and flowy, like that, pardon me, then the single-sided is the way to go. If you like EDM, if you like metal, if you like hard rock, if you like, the punk and new wave scene, if those are your styles, great. If you're into stuff with a little more nuance, if you like some acoustic music thrown in there, some jazz, because a double-sided plays the other stuff just fine. By the way, both of the headphones are fine. Both of them do great jobs. It's just one happens to have a little more detail and the other seems to have a little more sub. A little more slam down low, and they're a little smoother. And it just comes down to what you like. I don't think that you can make a case for either one. For me personally, the double-sided made more sense. It falls in line with a lot of my late night listening, and I think that it's really good on Pink Floyd, and I like listening to Pink Floyd late at night sometimes. No, I'm not getting stoned yet. It should start. I'm going to start any day now, given this award season and everything. Given the LA traffic, boys, I really need to start developing a drug habit. Because if I was smoked stoned while I was in that car yesterday on the 2 hour, I wouldn't have given a crap about the guy cutting me off. CBD, boys, it's the way of the future. Why do you watch this? Why do you guys watch this? IMJ says, Neil, he's much more of a solid state guy, too, until he spent a crap time with the WA23. It's so good. He's looking forward to tinkering with the 23 as a pre to the Zale when it comes. Wow, AMJ went into the deep end on the money. Like me. Cheers, welcome to the club. Nephilim says, Michael, my friend, given that you've got some difficult headphones to drive in your collection, what's the best preamp experience you've experienced using an actual preamp and not the VRMS from a DAC. What is the best preamp you've experienced using an actual preamp? Well, I haven't done it that much. And I will say when I've used a pre, I've used the Macintosh, which is a pretty expensive way to go for a pre, and it's got a tube pre, no less. That's not a bad way to go. I'm trying to think of other things I've done. You know, like the cord had a lot of power coming out of it. So you could technically probably pre with the cord. So, you know, and it's moot now because the DCS will put out to 6 volts. I just think that, you know, I of the amps that I've heard that really impressed me, the Ohr stands out. I think for a bang for the buck, the Ohr's a way to go. I also think that, you know, I want to hear the hollow stuff more. I only got a quick listen to it at Can Jam, and it sounded really good. So, you know, you could do something like that with the hollow. I think is it the Spring, I think, right? The Spring. So, you know, I think there are a lot of options out there. It gets tricky because, you know, the other thing you got to worry about when you start messing with putting different components in the chain is synergy. And I'll give you a good example. I think I have engineered myself out of a really good setup with the 1266. 1266 on the Ferrum stack was golden. It was like one of the best experiences. And the only thing is I still have the Woo. I just haven't pulled them out in a while and done a lot of listening. I don't think that this stack does much for the 1266, and I don't think the Bakoon does a lot for the 1266. I think the 1266 is more at home on that WA5LE, and I know it was at home on the Ferrum stack because the Ferrum stack made my good buddy who came over cry when he was listening to the 1266. I put on like there was a track by Chicago that he just was like everything to him. It meant a lot to him, and when he heard it, he's like, I've never heard it this good, and he was crying. It was like, that's amazing. And it wasn't 25 or 64. Okay. Yep, director. I'm here in SoCal, Oceanside, President. Good for you, man. MJ. Yeah, so you need to go to the one in, well, it's not that far away. It's only 6 months away. And that's, you know, that's a blip in time. Chance D says he met Garth on an airplane many decades ago. He didn't know who he was, nor did he know me. We talked about music, and he was very knowledgeable. He's impressed. The next day he saw him on local TV, an AM TV show. Yeah. He just gets it. He just gets it, and he cares. And I mean, you know, is Garth my favorite music on the planet? No, I'm not like necessarily like the country guy, but I do like to listen to country music sometimes. But I think he writes beautifully. I think he writes from the heart. I think he puts himself out there on the line, and he's done it for so long, and he gives so much to fans, and, you know, like he really does try to make it special for everybody who's watching him. He does care about the audience and how the audience is seeing stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he has that extra vision to jump on. Anybody watching, by the way, anybody looking at the Apple Vision stuff? Have you been watching that? I've like watched a few videos on it. I'm like, will it work with my Caldera? Will it work with my Mod House? Can I put my Mod House headphones on over the Apple Vision so I could be like totally like immersed in like Rune and like checking out all my best album art, and while I'm listening to you know, I don't know, I was watching a lot of maybe a little too much of that virtual reality crap. IJ, love the dot matrix volume indicator. I know, it's so cool. It's so cool. What's new is case machining. Yeah. I mean, this, guys, and then we're gonna go back to it. That's what happens when I'm all out of time on the thing. I got to keep track of my pace because I got to get off the air in 15. I mean, look at the side. Look at the. Just look at the heat sinks. Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. We want. So great. 15 watts into 60 ohms. Okay, so that thing's throwing some power. That's awesome. Yeah, that's one of Ken's getting some flowers now. The case manning, dual mono 2x10 amp transformers, and now a separate power supply for the volume and headphone protector. Good God, I don't even know what that does. It's so amazing. God, it's so great. CFA 3 based. Yes, that's the same amp that is going to be coming from Headamp later this year. But it's just so cool, man. Nice, only slightly enough for the Sisfara. No, he'll be there for the Sisfara with that. If he's got, yeah, if he's there at 16, that's going to be plenty. It's going to be in good shape. Looks awesome. Yeah, Ryan, isn't that just killer? Isn't that just killer? Made some different design choices than the Dookie. Duque. Or as I say, because I'm from Chicago, Dookie. Like Green Day. Nephilim81 says, Ken, magnificent. No need for a preamp with that baby. Nope. We go live with it. Easier to do if you're making one for yourself versus a repeated process. Looks fantastic. He's turned down a few folks. Thankfully, he'll have more than a full-time gig and other hobbies, biking in cars, just no time. Plus, Headamp does a great job with their CFA 3 unit. Okay, there we go. N8, welcome, buddy. Cheers. What's everyone talking about? What are we discussing tonight? We've done a lot of things. Been sort of all over the map today. Ryan, we need a Director's Garage subscriber secret stash of tungstens. I recommended the Hemp Cream. Nephilim, thank you, brother. This really helped. Diablo 2 is great. In fact, they lied. 1.6 continuous. I love the fact that they lied. 1.6 continuous watts is way more than most portable amps. He ordered a Q-Style CMA 18 to try. Timothy Egan. Cheers, Timothy. I think you would find the 23RM interesting. New mobile version of the 23R. It does not have that power kick, though, and it just doesn't. Here's the thing, like, the 23RM, I think, is going to be a lot closer to the Bakoon because of its shape, size, and ability to put stuff in it. What makes the 23R so special is the capacitors inside, I believe. Ken and I were talking about this. I think it's the size of the capacitors. They are noticeably larger, and I think that's giving the 23R a lot of power on demand for music that needs a big push, and I think that translates to bass and slap and slam, and I think if you took that characteristic away from the 23R, I'd be a lot less interested. It'd be a lot like my 13R. Anyway, has anyone seen the new Cayin 2 from Hollow? Looks interesting. Oh, do we have time to look it up? Yeah, we got 15. All right, we'll check it out. Just because Ken wanted to. I got to find my browser. Let's play. I'm going to play the internet game. Find. Oh, I got to do it. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Find my browser. Chrome. Who sells Hollow? Where can I find it? Hollow. May. Let's find somebody who's got it. Kitsune has them. Okay, so let's find, is it on here? Audio. Search. Search results, Hollow Audio, Cyan. Here we go. And Ken from Kit says, introducing the Cayin 2, pinnacle of portable audio precision. Ken Workshop approved. There you go. Let's take a look. You got some photos? You got something? Can you show me a full screen, please? Oh, there we go. Ooh, that does look nice. Wow. There's the backside. It's got a DAC built in. Nice. and a lot of little LEDs on the front. Very sweet. Is that an HDMI? Digital input. Oh, okay. Dang. All right. Ken, throwing down, man. Throwing down with a competitor. Just kidding. That's nice, man. That's really cool. That's really cool. Hey, director, Justin Montagano. Justin Montagano says, just like I knew him, like we're best friends, besties. Hey, director, would you give a brief comparison between tungsten and other top-of-the-line headphones, like the Caldera Sesfara Abyss? Sorry if it was already asked, dropping late. Well, I haven't done a proper shootout between the two, and I try not to do those sort of like just throwdowns. I would just say this. They are in the same lane. The double-sided is in the same lane as the Caldera and the Sesfara. You could probably throw a net over them, and they're going to be very similar. The Abyss is a different animal. The Abyss is a different animal because it's more of a soundstage, like it's soundstage first. The Sesfara, Caldera, and Tungsten are detailed first. And so the Abyss is sort of a different, like that's a different world. So it's sort of like an apples and oranges comparison. But I love the Abyss, and I love the effect of the Abyss. On the right amp, the Abyss can be an outstanding time, although you still have to deal with like the worst ergonomics in the history of headphones. So currently, you know, those three headphones, they're just different flavors. I think the Sesfara still probably has a technical edge on the Caldera and the Tungsten, double-sided. But it's a sliver. It's a sliver. It's like it's almost insignificant. It is insignificant. So yeah, I think that there is just a edge more speed probably out of the Sesfara. But you can get there for $2,000, or for $3,200. Is that what the Caldera is going for now? For $200, you can get there and not have to worry about finding an amp to drive it. And that's got to be a factor in any ranking. It's like the Caldera has, on 90% of the amps in the world, better bass. And you can drive it with a $500 or $1,000 amp just fine. Doesn't care. The Sesfara is going to make you like bash your head against a wall until you find the right amp to drive it. And it took me so long. It just was like, before I was really happy with the sound out of the Sesfara. Is it still great? Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great, but it's $6,000, $6,500. I forget what they're selling for now, but you know, that's way too much money. Way too much money for a headphone, and then you got to find an amp for it. For $2,000, you can get 95%, if not more, of the Sesfara in the Tungsten. You still have to find something to drive it with, though. That's you know, that is the asterisk with that. The Caldera, you can drive with anything. Anything will drive the Caldera. Anything. And you get all of that tremendous speed that the Sesfara does. It's why the Caldera, to me, and with due respect to Ryan, and he knows how much I love and respect the Tungsten, and it got named best of. A couple of guys gave it best of for last year. The Caldera was my headphone of the year, bar none, because ZMF cracked the code. They delivered a headphone with outstanding bass, unbelievable resolution, super easy to drive, gorgeous and attractive, great build, solid build. You know, they just ticked all the marks. They hit everything. Had they just done this with it, it would have been like, you know. So that to me was my headphone of last year, is the Caldera by far. It just stood out to me as like, that was the achievement. And I think this mod house is fantastic, and it's been fun, and I've been listening to them a ton. They're right here. They're at the ready. And I'm still checking out my other gear too, but it's an exciting headphone, and it's outstanding. And I would tell anybody, make sure you're checking out that stuff. The Abyss, I'm going to tell you, is in a different league. Is it still a relevant headphone? Yes. It's also about 5 years old it's been 5 years since they upgraded that driver. It's, you know, as far as its technical advantages, those are waning. They haven't done much with that headphone in a long time. Not since they went to they did the TC version of it, but that TC's got some legs on it now. So does the Sesfara, for that matter. I expect a new Sesfara sometime in the next 2 years. They got to upgrade. I mean, just to keep pace, they've got to move that bar that will drive guys like Zach and Ryan to do what they're going to do next. They've got to move that bar. It's sitting there, and it's going to be it's a matter of time before one of these guys who are, you know, super on it and doing great stuff is going to put something that just lands way past the Sesfara. And I don't know what HiFiman's doing. You know, they are playing in that middle ground a lot. There's a lot of money to be made in that middle ground, probably more than in the high end, because you probably sell 10 Arias to one Sesfara because of the price gap, you know. So there's probably a better margin on a headphone like the Aria or the Aria Organic. You know, there's no surprise, or shouldn't be much of a business from a business standpoint. It shouldn't be much of a wonder why does HiFiman keep coming out with versions of basically the HE-1000 V2. They came out with the SE, then they came out with the Aria and the Aria Stealth Magnet, and they upgraded the V2, and then they came out with, because that's a sweet spot. That $1,000 to $2,000 price point is a sweet spot, and that's why it's so exciting to see the Tungsten come out and just go, here, $2,000, you can have the HE-1000 SE, or you can have this thing that sounds like a Sesfara. You know what I mean? So those are relevant points to be made, you know. Which tungsten handles Barry Manilow best? Well, God, it's got to be the double-sided. I want every nuance on Barry's baritone voice to come out and resonate through my head. Looks like we made it. Okay, guys, I gotta blast through these now. Okay, no more sidetracking. I gotta blast through these because we gotta get off the air. Okay, Nephilim, if you need more gain, and I think the way Michael is doing it is with a DAC that has I output. Yes. Absolutely. Faramwanda. Yeah, 10 volt. I think it was 9, but I read, but it could be 10. I don't know. Thank you, Michael. Thinking of getting either the Kara or Sega Plus from Shit Audio. I got to get into shit one of these days. I'm always in the shit. I'm always in the shit house over something I say or do. But yeah, I got to experiment. I haven't played with any shit stuff at all. Sadly, because I think they offer great value, and that there's something to great value, man. Somebody spending too much on love Apple products. I am Jay. Love Apple products, and he's genuinely curious about the Apple Vision Pro. Not really hesitant to pay $3,500 until it has more app support. I can't imagine editing on that. That's the thing. Like, and I can't imagine writing scripts on it. So, yeah. Anyway, fun headphone fact that dates him. When the first Apple Titanium laptop came out, they demoed them with Sennheiser headphones at Macworld. Steve Jobs was an audio guy. Titanium drove them terribly. I'd also remind you of, what was that awful speaker that Apple came out with that sounded like crap? that Steve Jobs said with a straight face during Macworld that he can now get rid of his high-end Macintosh system at home or whatever it was he was listening to. Like, yes, Steve, you're going to do that. Throw all that out for your plastic speaker. Oh, that was amazing. I remember that thing. I never had one. Nate Smith, Pocket Change is an incredible album to test the performance of your system. Nate Smith, Pocket Change. Okay, I'm going to copy that. And by the way, major props because you're here this week. Chance, if you're still in the audience, your ears should have been burning last week. Everybody raved about your recommendation from a couple weeks ago. The brothers, the Bellamy brothers. I'm getting it wrong, but I listened to that album too, and I agree. And I said I thought that the most recent album was extra special because they had the budget to bring in real horns, and it made all the difference on their sound. Really good. Pythagoras says, good evening, Michael. Do you have some thoughts to the Austrian audio composer or possibly to test the headphones? I don't have any connection to Austrian audio, and somebody would have to send them to me. I would love to hear them, though. I'm a fan of. I've heard some good things about them, but I haven't checked. I haven't been able to audition them myself, and I don't have a path to them because I don't think Audio 46 carries them. Nephilim says one more thing about the hemp cream. Put it on right after you had a hot shower or bath. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Okay. But, like listening to headphones backwards, yes, I know. Cayin 2 is a DAC, actually. Oh, he's too cheap for a May DAC. Yeah, and I haven't heard the May. I mean, I have heard the May only at CanJam. Michael, you need to get Jam Audio XTC. Oh, by the way, did you guys hear that? Just a sidetrack. JH Audio filed for bankruptcy. JH Audio, the makers of the Jimmy that I gave away, and some really great IEMs over the years, they filed for bankruptcy. Sorry about that. But hopefully they're going to go through restructuring and emerge. I think they're still planning on doing IEMs, but they're in a little bit of trouble financially. And it was all a result of the pandemic and slow sales and this and that. JTB, I saw your comment, and I'd love to check out the Ecstasy 2 open back. I don't think that's what he sent me. Or did he send me that? I gotta go look. I like all of JM's headphones. I think he does amazing stuff and great value. The XTC2 is the best he's heard on music. He likes hard rock. Okay. Yeah, excellent bass, soundstage detail. I got a review. I don't remember what I reviewed from JM. It may have been that. I think he sent me that. I don't know. I know that I really enjoyed them. I thought they were great. Very promising, JTB. Appreciate your thoughts. Wasn't expecting a live stream today. Howdy, gentlemen. How you doing, everybody? How you doing, Hipster Cow? Cheers. Hipster Cow, one of my favorite people. Come out, stop by this thing we call life. I got to get off the air in 2 minutes. Okay, going to read through these, then we're going to go. A used Caldera with a used Chord Mojo 2 is a very hard combo to beat, especially when you can travel with. Agree. JTB says John does some magic with his tunings. I agree. Totally agree. Totally respect John Massaria. I hope his ears are burning. Nothing but good thoughts for him. Actually, a great headphone shootout possibility, Tungsten versus the Caldera. Yeah, I do think that that's a really good matchup. Caldera will have an edge just because it's easier to drive. And it will. It's going to have an edge. You've got to factor that in, the price and all that. But I also think that down the road, Ryan is going to give us an easier to drive version of that. I think that that's something he would love to do. But for now, it's what he knows how to do. So anyway, Sisfara I really liked. Was never really the $6,000 asking price most dealers would sell below 4K. Okay. I just go by what I saw. I bought mine used, so it's like $3,200. Sold. JTB is now in the mode for wanting to support little guys like Ryan and JM Audio. I am too. I think it's great. Love this hobby. Can't wait to stop this shit. JTB Niche Prius Maximus is a collaboration with shit. I have to look that up. Teskey Brothers, thank you, Chance. So we all we all love that, and I think you reviewed the XTC. I think I did too, and he was going to send me one. So we'll get that down the road. John's been great to the show, and I'm a huge fan of his. So, and he knows that. What are your thoughts on the LCD4 versus Caldera? Caldera is faster, LCD4 stronger bass. Is there enough of a difference to keep both? Yeah, I have both. Just keep what you love, man. And cheers, peace, everybody. I gotta go. I gotta get this. I gotta go I gotta go get dinner from my brother-in-law who's coming over. Where's my music so I can sign off? And it is right here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tip your waiters and waitresses on the way out the door. Make sure that you recycle those containers on your way out too. We're going to Chop Stop. I'm going to get some salads. So cheers, everybody. Make sure you have a good week and get some good listening in this week. Check out Nate Smith Pocket Change if you would. That's a good recommendation. And hope you enjoyed the live stream. It was kind of fun today. And I'll see you guys before you know. I don't have anything shot. I've got nothing coming out in the next couple of days. I may not even have anything next week because the Grammys are Sunday and I'm going to be in big trouble. I'm going to be in pain on Sunday. So I'll see you guys before you know it. Cheers.